nationality is a construct. It's a construct fabricated by individuals or by governments. Now, I consider myself to be a Jamaican of African descent. That allows me to identify myself with the Jamaican space, and it also allows for me to identify myself with the broader African diaspora, right? Because, you know, within Jamaica itself, it consists of different ethnicities: Chinese, Lebanese, Syrians, and blacks. And the blacks, of course, are the overwhelming majority, right? But the mere fact of us being born in Jamaica or born in the wider Caribbean does not necessarily mean that this is our location of origin.
For the most part, held on to my Jamaican identity, and in some way I have adopted, you know, some American culture as a means of survival, as a means of existing amicably in this society.
As a Jamaican living in the US, I believe that it is very important to hold on to your culture, because that is your roots, that is a part of you. As a Jamaican living in the US for the past 8+ years, I have held on to my culture. A lot of people cannot believe it that I still have an accent, but I make sure to hold on to it because I do not want to lose that. It is a part of me.
So therefore, I see it fitting that, yes, Jamaica or the Caribbean is our first level of identity, but then on a broader level, the African diaspora is something more or less that, being someone of black descent, I can identify more with that, because that allows for me to see myself having commonality with African Americans, persons from Trinidad, persons from Antigua, persons from Haiti, persons from Brazil.
But I didn't know I was black until I came here. Because for me, it's like everything is everything when you're home. You know, you live life, it's regular. And when I came here, because I said I'm Trinidadian, she felt so offended, like, you know, the slaves this, and she felt like I needed to claim being black and being African American, but I don't feel like that is me.
Come from home, right? And you come here, and the minute you open your mouth, to say hello, my name is, I would like. Somebody's like, where you from? What, you know, I'm like, I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, but I personally hate it when people will look at me, speak. Whoa, like what the hell? You know what I mean? So I feel like as Caribbean people, there goes I'm making that comment, but like, as someone from Trinidad and Tobago, I have come here and you feel like you have so much to prove in any way. You have so much, you know, so many barriers to get over and so many stigmas to overcome, that for somebody who is accepted, in inverted commas, as Black American or as American, to be like, I'm from the Caribbean too, and I understand, and I'm this and I'm that, you're kind of like, killer, you really don't know.
I meet in Brooklyn all the time people from Jamaica who weren't necessarily born there, but so I can tell them in Jamaica where I'm from for 2 minutes, and then we still talk about everything else, because they know everything else about Jamaica, and they know everything else about the culture of Jamaica, because they were raised in that culture. So I can't take anything away from them because they weren't born there. Because
most of CSA was pretty much people straight from the Caribbean, but you would tend to find a lot of people in class and so on who probably were born in Trinidad for a few years, lived there and came across here, who just lived here the entire life and had Caribbean parents who claimed the island, but they weren't a part of CSA. And I would talk to them and ask them, okay, so why aren't you a member of CSA? And they would say that they never felt welcome. And I feel as though that is something I guess we have to work on, because we are very proud people, West Indian people are very proud people, but I think we have to work on how we deal with people who are not born and raised in a country or in our country or in our region, but still want to claim
Korea to Spain to Puerto Rico, like I've been like everywhere. But at the same time, it's like, you know, sometimes like when I tell some, because my mother's Trini, my father's Haitian. So when I tell people that, and you know, the thing is that people will think one thing, they think another thing, but the thing is you have to take consideration. I mean, even when you talk to psychologists, they always say that, you know, your environment is not the only thing that defines a person. It's biology, it's also, you know, how you were raised. So it's something that does, it's not like when you talk to somebody and I tell them, you know, I'm Trini, it's not something, because some people will just, you know, okay, next question, like next. And they don't even want to talk no more. You know what I mean? And the thing is that, you know, I think that someone's heritage is very important. Like, I don't think that my history started in 1987. You know, I think my history started way before that, you know? And, you know, it's very true because it's like, it's hard that you hear, when you say something's American, when you come to America, you see there's so many different cultures here. You can't just say, well, you can't just call me an American because you can pull out anybody out there in that hallway and you can find 5, 10 different differences between me and that person. So to put me in a box as an American, I don't think it's fair because what was going on in my house is not the same thing that was going on in his house.
At the Caribbean, you also can talk about the Caribbean within the context of a transnational space. You know, you have and so therefore this allows you to include communities that Caribbean people have settled in, primarily in places like England, France, New York, Washington DC, and Florida, and other localities where Caribbean people have settled into. These spaces arguably can be considered part of the Caribbean because people leave, and very similar to the transatlantic slave trade, people carry their culture with them. So if you go to New York, in a Jamaican household, on a Sunday they're cooking rice and peas, on a Saturday they're making soup, on a Friday evening, typically in Jamaica, it's not a day that a person cooks on. So therefore you find similar patterns.
But third generation from the island of Puerto Rico. And so it's hard for me when people ask me where I'm from, because especially in DC, everyone's international, everyone's from somewhere. So as soon as they see me, they ask me where am I from. I correct them and say I am Puerto Rican. I'm from Philly. So I have to, it's hard to not be able to claim the island as much as the people straight from there can. But I do correct them, and I don't claim it probably as hard as someone would that's from there. But I want you guys to understand is that being an American and then being Puerto Rican or being West Indian and American is very difficult because you're in between two identities all the time. And so it's hard, even with the Puerto Rican friends that I have here that are straight from the island, it's hard, it's sad that I can't relate to them as much as I can with my African American friends that I probably grew up with in Philly. So I need you guys to understand that we struggle with the two identities back and forth, and to not be so hard on us because we want to claim something that is because it's all Americanized. And it took a lot for me to say that I'm American. It takes a lot for me to say that now. And so in order to be able to claim that I'm Puerto Rican, I take pride in that probably more than I do. I would probably never say I'm American if you ask me where I'm from. But for you guys to understand and then take into consideration for your kids that are probably maybe going to be born here. You know, you want to raise them up in that culture, but you don't want someone telling them that you're not from da-da-da-da, all of that, and being all hard on them. It takes a lot of sensitivity, and you need to understand where they're coming from.
Well, for me, Caribbean culture is really defined by where we live, always being welcoming to people. This environment alone tells us all that, and at a moment's notice, everybody can come out, enjoy, have some fun, join as one, people from different countries, people from different islands. So it's a nice, good melting pot, good vibes, and that's what Caribbean people is just all about, always having a good time, respecting everybody and loving everybody.